Hello everyone and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry, a fan channel where everything Dragalia Lost can be found. In today's video, I'm going to be summoning on Lazry's Summon Showcase. The Hunt for Harmony event revival is happening right now. I hope everyone had a happy Easter weekend if you partake in that, and otherwise just had a pleasant weekend and are safe and are doing well. So for today's video, I said that I'm summoning on Lazry's Showcase, and I described it that way because the showcase has no name. I don't know if this was an issue or this is a trend going forward, but this was just called Summon Showcase. A new Summon Showcase is now live, but I wanted to make a video to discuss the new units on it. Pretty excited that there's actually a new 4-star. And in fact, the new 4-star is our main objective for today. So we'll look through a few of the recent news notifications here. When it comes to the facility event revival, obviously if you were around last year, you've already played this event, but if not, this is your opportunity to do so. It is a pretty fun facility event in my opinion. It has a pretty cool story, and they upped the level of the water facility that you can make from it to level 35 max. So the Dragalia, it's a great facility. Now it can be leveled up to level 35. Pretty sweet. All of this indicates to me that it's very likely the next Agito boss will be a flame element boss. We're going to know for sure when the Chimera comes out, and somebody corrected me in a really positive way, I think. I was speculating that maybe the Chimera would be a different element than the Agito boss, or not related in terms of the weapon element that you can craft from them. But obviously, in order to craft Agito weapons, one of the prerequisites is the Chimera weapon. So I don't think that that will be the curveball we get, but it does seem kind of likely that we may get the Flame boss, because we've gotten all of this water power up lately, and this banner is a water banner. We got a rerun of a water facility that now can be leveled up to 35. Yeah, I guess I just think that it seems likely, and you can see from some of these prints, the second print in particular, the direction that they've chosen for water. And I guess you could say the direction for the game, because basically like the other elements, water is getting pushed into this affliction punisher area. So the first new Wyrmprint though is proper maintenance. This is a pretty cool one. It's another source of buff time, but with some additional strength. If you have no purpose for the other effects on your buff time prints, then having strength never hurts, even on a buff bot. And I could see this being really awesome for somebody like Durant. You know, Durant's 2 skills are buffs, and he has full HP abilities already in his kit. So if you're playing him, planning on staying at full HP, this is probably a go-to print, I would imagine, for him. But other characters who don't necessarily rely on full HP or dealing a lot of personal DPS, but just need any type of buff time print and don't need the skill prep from some of the other buff time prints out there, like from Whence He Comes, I think it's called. I always get the name of that one wrong, but that's from the Stirring Shadows event. It has 25% skill prep and buff time, and it's a 4-star. Well, you know, proper maintenance is a pretty solid alternative, I think. And the second print is what I alluded to earlier with this Affliction Punisher world that we live in. His clever brother, it has really cute artwork. You can see it in the Wyrmprint shop. Frostbite Punisher of 20%. So now Frostbite is the latest damage over time affliction to get in on the Punisher action, and skill haste of plus 5%. Frostbite is still a pretty rare affliction, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see that slapped onto mana spirals on 3 and 4-star units in the future, and maybe even some 5-stars. Like Zainfried is a good example. He's one of the few sources of Frostbite right now. The other ones are Mitsuba, Valerio, and of course, we'll see the 2 new units also deal with Frostbite as well. So they've capped Frostbite Punisher at 25%, unlike Burning Punisher, so it seems like Burning Punisher is the only one that goes up to 30% at this point. And this print, probably a little bit worse than the Plague Bringer print that gives you 25% Poison Punisher, just because the skill haste may or may not be relevant, But if you're putting this on your character, like the Frostbite Punisher is probably always going to be relevant. So having the max on that rather than having 2 abilities would have been kind of nice. But maybe that's just for balancing reasons that they made it like this. And perhaps there will be characters for whom that 5% skill haste matters or incrementally matters with the other forms of skill acceleration that they have in their kit. That's pretty much all on the Wyrmprints. They're both pretty cool looking. I'm probably going to pick them up, just round out the collection, but right now there's not a lot of urgency around them, but maybe with Flame Agito perhaps coming out, there will be. So let's talk about the Summon Showcase. Lazry is our new 5-star, Gauld is our new 4-star, and the 5-star dragon, I'm going to probably struggle to pronounce this, but I think it's something like Gaibhne and Creidhne. We'll see. You let me know how I did on that, but I'm sure that it's wrong. So Lazry, our new 5-star water axe, she definitely got a bit of a makeover from her NPC version, and I thought she would have come out during the Flames of Reflection revival earlier this year, so I'm kind of surprised to see her here. But I can see why they sometimes may want to save these types of characters who make story cameos for when there's some downtime or event revivals, because it's a good way of drawing people because you at least know who that character is and have an attraction or interest in them. Like, I think that another character that we might see make an appearance similar to this is Wukong from the, what was the name of that raid? The Echoes of Antiquity raid event. So Lazry is finally here in the game, Water Axe. A Roken blacksmith passionate about her craft. Inside her workshop in a human town, she plied her trade alone, but her contact with the blacksmith sisters and others has helped her to reach new heights as a smith. She does look pretty adorable. I like her smith arm. Looks really cool. Her skills are Smithy Spin and Smithy Arm Forge mode. Smithy Spin deals water damage to enemies directly ahead and inflicts frostbite. If the skill is used when the user is in high power mode, a variant called Hyper Smithy Spin will be used instead. Hyper Smithy Spin deals water damage to the target and nearby enemies, and increases the damage dealt by the user's next skill by 20%. So notice that Hyper Smithy Spin doesn't say it inflicts frostbite. So when you are in high power mode, you're not going to inflict frostbite, but your next skill is going to do 20% more damage. Smithy Arm Forge mode increases the entire team's strength by 15% for 15 seconds, critical rate by 10% for 15 seconds, and if this skill is used when the user is in high power mode, a variant called Smithy Arm Power mode will be used instead. That variant deals water damage to the target and nearby enemies and immediately readies the Smithy Spin or Hyper Smithy Spin, so her first skill, for immediate use. Notice it doesn't ever explain how to get into high power mode, so hopefully we'll see that on the abilities. Her co-ability is defense, her chain co-ability is frostbite equals user strength with a pretty whopping 13% on there. I think that's the highest frostbite equals user strength that's possible. Generally, these affliction equals user strength cap at 13%. Like, you see the same amount, but for poison on Silas, for example. Abilities, Frostbite Punisher 30%, Burn Res of 100%, HP 70% equals skill damage of 35%. So they never explain how to get into high power mode. From what I've heard, this is yet another example of just unlisted mechanics. They don't take up an ability slot, it's just unique to the character, just like Valerio, Mitsuba, Gala, Alex. So in Lazry's case, I believe the way it works is just like with Valerio and Mitsuba, she just has stances that you can toggle between whether you want to be in high power mode or not. So I don't really love that. I don't like when these mechanics just don't get explained anywhere. I feel like that's not cool, but I do like when characters have unique play styles. So I'm not sure if her animations actually change in the way that Valerio's and Mitsuba's do, but that could be quite interesting if that's the case. Either way, though, she seems solid. I've heard her damage modifiers are not the greatest on her skill, but still a good amount of team utility. I think the second skill might be very slow to charge as well. And one of the few sources of Frostbite right now with a pretty relevant chain co-ability that's quite powerful. So in the right comp, I could see her being pretty good. But you never know. I'm not sure how she's going to shake out just yet, but I have a feeling she could easily be meta for whatever Agito trial comes out next. Right now I'm pretty saturated on water axes though. I have Summer Julieta, Gala Elisan, Pietro, Karina is still out there. I still use her sometimes. Rex. I do have a Max Unbound High Dragon Trial Tier 2 Water Axe, mainly for Pietro, but I do have that, so if I pick up Lazry today, I'm not going to be unhappy with it, but she's not our main objective today. And then second, the dragon here, Gaibhne and Creidhne. So this dragon is cute, although something about the art style really throws me off. It feels very cartoonish, especially the small dragon. I'm not sure which is which, Gaibhne or Creidhne here. This dragon has some pretty interesting mechanics. So the skill Dazzling Dance Floor creates a buff zone that gradually fills the skill gauges of adventurers inside it. And the abilities Water Strength plus 45% and Water Skill Recharge 2. The strength is a little bit lower than you see on most 5-star dragons. Obviously the baseline is kind of like 60% that you see on Leviathan, but nowadays you see dragons that have conditionally the ability to get up to 80% strength, or if it's a skill damage dragon, 90% skill damage. So this is definitely on the lower end, and really what you're looking at here is how good is this skill recharge 2. It fills the skill gauge after using that skill, so 35% is nothing to sneeze at. I guess this would be better for slower to charge skills because you're getting more free SP back. This is probably good on buff bots, I would imagine, so you can continuously cast your buffs very rapidly. Kind of like Halloween Marinimus with the skill haste, but in this case you actually have a strength aura, which is pretty nice. So I imagine this is a very good dragon. It reminds me a bit of Ariel as well. I'm not sure if it's good enough to break into your typical DPS units that aren't as focused on buffing the team. As good as it can be to spam skills, I'm just not sure if it's worth sacrificing the strength aura for that. So I'm not sure. I don't know, but it seems like potentially a very good dragon. Let's go ahead and head over to the Summon Showcase page and start to do our summoning to get our 4-star. We'll look at him really quick, but basically I'm summoning here today because I anticipate the next showcase will be a Fire Emblem rerun where I already have all the units, and I do want to try and maintain my 4-star collection at this point. There's just so many units, the pool has become so saturated, the permanent summoning pool, that it's not easy to just randomly hope you're going to pull these 4-star units eventually off focus. Now, on one hand, I don't need this unit, so it's not a bad thing to prevent or stop myself from summoning, but I do want to try and maintain that collection of 4 stars, as I think there's a lot of utility to having them. You never know. I don't know his chain code ability, but I just like having that collection, especially with the encyclopedia coming up. So Gauld has Chaotic Fissure, deals water damage to enemies directly ahead and inflicts Frostbite. Frostbite and foes take extra damage, activates Skill Shift if the attack connects. Phase 2 increases Frostbite success rate, while Phase 3 also increases the user's strength by 15% for 10 seconds. So very much like Joachim or like Floor. And then Stone Foundation immediately readies Chaotic Fissure skill for use and increases the user's strength by 25% for 5 seconds, exactly like those two units. HP co-ability, Frostbite equals user strength 10%, so weaker than on Lazry, who's a natural 5-star. But chain co-abilities do stack, so you could use them together and it'd probably be pretty good because they can Frostbite a lot. And then HP 70% equals strength, stun res, and Frostbite and Punisher. Honestly looks like a pretty solid unit. Especially the more Frostbite interaction that we have. So I've already done a daily deal today. I was able to do one summon. I finally cashed out my leftover resources from Mitsuba. So I actually got monthly stamina and wings refresh pack and had some Wyrmite left over and or Diamatium to do a daily summon. So I did that. So we're going to do 9 singles here and then a tenfold just due to the lack of singles that we have right now. And hopefully on that tenfold, we are able to get our target. If not, we are going to dip into our Wyrmite. We're going to fall below 30k Wyrmite. I would like to stay around 30k for the second part of the Fire Emblem showcase, or the second showcase, the second event, whatever that may be. But I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of freebies from that as well. So I'm not too worried about that. We're getting a 5-star to break our pity rate right away. So this puts us in an interesting position. I was going to say we're going to go for our target 4-star. Okay, I had to take a breath there because I thought it might be Jiangxia, but Akasha we already have. So I was going to say we'll probably go for, let's see. We will go for Gauld and then break our pity rate after getting Gauld. So now we've used our singles, let's start using tenfold vouchers. I'm not going to just spend Wyrmite to turn my 8 singles into 10 singles. I don't think that's really worth it. Looks like we're just getting 4 stars here, but we might get Gauld. That would be pretty good if we do. There's a Lance. Okay, that Lance could be what we're looking for. Let's skip through some of these 3 stars. Yeah, that was fast. Obviously, there have been a lot of comparisons between Gauld and Kaiyan, and I totally see the resemblance. So this is one of the few older men characters that we have in the game, along with Ryozan. And maybe you could throw Raymond in there if you're feeling generous, but he's pretty dapper, pretty youthful, so we got Gauld. Sweet. So now we're just going to keep summoning to try to break our pity rate. If we happen to get lucky and get Lazry or the new dragon, that's awesome. If we don't, that's okay. But I think it's worth it. I guess we've only done 1 tenfold here. It is a little questionable. It might take us quite a while to break our pity rate, so this wasn't a trivial decision, even though I made it super snappily. All 4 stars, so Dupe City. And hopefully... Okay, looks like we're going to sink quite a bit of Wyrmite, but I still think we can recoup before Fire Emblem Part 2. Now, if we go another couple tenfolds without a 5-star, you know, that's really unfortunate, but we did get a lot of 4 stars here, so at least we're getting value in terms of Eldwater. Yeah, that was a pretty full circle of 4 stars. So we're 27k now. No sign of a 5-star. Come on, show us the rainbow. Yeah, there we go. And we're gonna get 1. Let's see what type it is. It's a dragon. Maybe we get the new dragon. A little sad not to get Lazry, but I don't think we could really expect to pull her with this amount of summoning without really going all in. But we do get the new dragon, Gaibhne and Creidhne. That's just how I'm gonna say it. I don't know how else to say it. So yeah, sweet. Another sunlight ore for us by adding this dragon to the Dragon Roost. It looks better in the 3D model. The art I'm not as big a fan of. But yeah, cool. I can't imagine myself using sunlight stones right now on that dragon, but maybe if there's some real meta defining thing where you really need that dragon for Flame Agito boss, I will do it. As of now, I'm just going to keep saving. That's going to do it for my summoning on the showcase, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed the event rerun, or perhaps you're playing it for the first time and seeing it with fresh eyes. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got everything you wanted for your summoning and have some resources left up for Fire Emblem when that returns. That's going to do it for today's video. I'm going to come back soon this week with some new gameplay, so I'm pretty excited to share that. Thank you as always for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.